if you're a man, if you're an honest man, you definitely know that you have a response when you have a lot of hot women around you, whether you're at the nudie beach like Jake was over the last week. And yeah, I'll give you an opportunity to explain yourself. So everyone's
Yeah,
like, what was Jake doing? You know, all the devotees right now are just like,
yeah.
oh, they're all praying for you right now. Like,
It's done now. They're just gonna cut that clip and just be like, oh,
yeah, that's it. Yeah,
my.
that will come up. That will come up years later when you're on some
Yeah,
like big tour. You're going on
yeah.
tour, right? Like you're going across Italy. Well, when you're selling out massive stadiums, that clip's gonna come out and be like, "Did you know that Jake Emlyn likes to hang out at nudie beaches for
He
fun?"
didn't deny it immediately either.
Yeah, no, he fully, yeah, he didn't deny it. He's there. He's doing it. Anyway, so we're gonna learn more about what that experience is like. But actually, this topic was inspired by the challenge going on inside of when you join the Sexual Alchemy program. You get to be part of the Semen Retention Army battalions, and so it's where we have challenges and we're sharing our experiences and our practices, and we're giving ourselves as men real life scenario practices to apply the techniques of sexual alchemy. So I've been applying it all week at the gym and continue to apply it. And Jake's been applying it. He was on vacation, and men all around the world are applying these techniques. We're going to share these 3 techniques with you today so that you can take on the challenge in your own life. So let's get into it. If you're here live, subscribe, notify, all that kind of stuff. You know, ring the bell and share this out. Let's get this message out to more and more men. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Let's get this party started.
Soldiers retain. Real strong men are self-control, their info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain. Real strong men are self-control, their info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain.
Boom. So Jake, you were out in Greece.
Corfu. Yeah,
Tell us,
Corfu.
tell us Corfu. It was beautiful. Tell us about your nudie beaches and what you were doing there in the bushes. We need to know.
Yeah, well, I wasn't actually at a nudie beach. I took one. So I like to explore, so
Mhm.
I actually found one like nudie secret beach. But I actually turned back. I stood there and I was like, should I go here or not? And then I like made a decision. I was like, nah, I'll go back, and I felt all right about it. But on a lot of other beaches, there are just random some women. They would just be there topless. You know, that happened many times. And it's funny because in that situation, it's different to, I guess, a nudie beach because it's just expected. But you're just walking along, you're like, is that some boobs? like, oh, because you obviously it's already a bit sexually surcharged, or there's bikinis, there's skin, but it's different, you know, it's actual nudity, and it's like the eyes just can't not look, and it's like, okay, you looked enough. Should I look again? Should I? It's like, you know, it's
Should
because
I look again?
it's so unusual. It's so extreme for the mind to like just seeing a naked body is like you don't usually see it. So it's like, and then all kinds of things come up. And it's weird because if they're like just there on the beach and for hours in front of you, first you're like, oh my goodness, and after a while you're like, oh, they're still there, still some boobs there. And then it's like, yeah, you can deal with it in so many ways, you know. It can agitate you, or you can after a while just be like, so what? Like, you know, it's just a body.
Nothing but
Like,
milk bags.
yeah, it's just, so it was interesting experience. And it, not that in particular, just sometimes being in a whole surcharged environment of enjoyment, and you know, like that can affect the mind. And I had that a little bit, but I was also able to feel, you know, very spiritually good as well. It was a mix. But yeah, what do we do in these situations where things are like not attacking our senses, but they're affecting our senses? It's like a sexually surcharged environment, or even just, you know, some natural nudity, or beautiful women or men people we're attracted to. How do we deal with this? The
Yeah.
general, let us know.
Yeah, so we've been inside of the battalions inside of our program. We've been working with that very idea. What do you do with that? And also like the idea, like I think Krishna Baladeo was saying something. I thought I saw a group up there saying I was just talking about the group. This group has been so refreshing to be in, talking to me about men's issues. Yeah, absolutely. It's just a fantastic place. But I let women influence my decisions, and I get distracted and confused. And so what you'll notice is, and I think the first thing is just to notice how much women are actually influencing you. And what a lot of guys will recognize again is like how much actually they shift who they are, their behavior, or how their thought processes goes when they are around someone that they find attractive, someone that they have a sexual attraction to. And so this practice is all about making sure that you stay in your power so that you don't allow your dick basically to make stupid decisions, or you don't go against the way that you want to live your life. And it's sexual alchemy. It's not a philosophy. We're not like saying here's how to live your life. Like religious sects or groups people will subscribe to certain ways of living. Here, it's just you have sexual energy. Great. Here's how you can consciously use it to live the life you would like to live, or the life that you're going to choose to live. But you have to make the choice of how you want to use this energy. But the point is this: is that sexual energy is like a technology. I compare it to like a hammer. If you use a hammer in a really good way, it's going to be a source of pleasure in your life. The hammer is going to build furniture and build homes and fix things and put nice pictures up. And it's going to be a source of beauty. It's going to be a source of pleasure for you. If the hammer is used and you use it improperly, you're smashing walls and you're breaking walls and you're breaking things down with that hammer, then that same hammer is now going to become a source of pain. It's not that the hammer itself is a source of either pain or pleasure. You are actually the source of it. Your consciousness is the source of the pain or pleasure. So it's your way of thinking or using the hammer. So similarly, sexual energy is like compared to the hammer. We have it. You have it. Notice you can be atheist and have sexual energy. You can be theist and have sexual energy. You could be Jewish. You could be, it doesn't matter. You have sexual energy. So it's something that you have. It's not a philosophy. And it's something that now that you can, as a human being, you could become conscious of this technology that you have, this sexual technology, and you can use it, or you can be afraid of it, or you could be controlled by it, or even worse, you can allow other people to control you by controlling that energy within you. And that is what's happening. That's happening on a large scale with pornography. How many men are controlled right now by pornography? Millions of men right now are controlled right now. In this moment, they're literally giving all their energy, their time, their money, their focus, their power, not even to women, but to pornography companies, to other men. And they're cashing in big time. And women are cashing in big time on you. They care nothing for you. It's money, right? It's an exchange. So being controlled by these things lead men to feeling depressed, feeling lonely, growing in social anxiety, and ultimately feeling incongruent with themselves, feeling split, feeling like they don't know how to behave in the world. They're conflicted with their masculine sexual drive, and then all of these different philosophies and different ways of life, because there's 1,000,001 philosophies. And depending if you're Christian or if you're Hare Krishna or if you're whatever you identify as and go as from your philosophical perspective, or you're atheist, that is then you're marrying what is a hammer technology, and then you're wrapping that technology with belief systems. And those belief systems either serving you or not. They're either working for you or not. And that's where you have to learn to become conscious and start to work out the belief systems that really make sense for you. When a woman or an outside source is controlling you, you are not consciously creating your belief system. Someone is telling you what to believe. And most of those belief systems have come unconsciously from your parents, from your environment, from your culture, from your religion that you grew up in, not that you consciously chose. So if you have a supportive environment, a great environment, if you had a sexually empowered or positive environment around you, then great. But if you had, like most of us, pretty much zero real training or conversation or mentorship around it, then it's just whatever the world is giving you. And the world has generally got two main narratives that I can see. Don't freaking do it. It's horrible. It's sin, and you're going to go to hell. It's the worst thing ever. That's the hard religious narrative. And then you've got that's it found. It's not really, in my opinion, the religious or the spiritual narrative, but it's the narrative that becomes dominant in many spiritual communities, not just one or the other. I've spent time in many different spiritual communities. They all end up doing the exact same thing when it comes to sex, right? Right? They end up demonizing it, and most of the community ends up having deep amounts of shame, guilt, and just a weirdness around sexuality, because their belief system is so against it. They've demonized it. Yet at the same time, they have it, and they don't know what to do with it. It's very bad. It's why many people leave religions, because they cannot.
It's way too conflicting.
It's way too conflicting internally. So the religion no longer becomes the source of the religion, no longer becomes a pleasurable experience, because you feel ripped apart by it now. And so a lot of people and then the second narrative is what I'm going to call the Hollywood porn narrative, right? It's it's the entertainment narrative, which is like jerk off every day, type of thing. It's amazing, and go nuts, go wild type of thing. And what we're presenting is something in between, something in the middle. Again, not a philosophy, but a conscious choice to decide how you will handle, use, and utilize your sexual energy.
Yeah, what's interesting is I think I've had both. I grew up with that Hollywood, free sex, like go for it, it's fun. And then I came to some spiritual stuff, and then somehow got involved in that dogmatic idea that like sex is bad. And so that's pretty extreme. But so somewhere in between would be good, because those, and I don't know if it's, I was thinking generationally, like my parents' age, they were kind of around in the 60s and the hippies kind of thing. And this was supposed to be like liberation, because before then it was very traditional. And then there was liberation for women, or to do with sex and stuff like that. And I feel like we're in the West anyway, we might be the result of those things now. Like was it a good thing or not? Because many people, I've spoken to many people from like my parents' generation, and they're questioning whether it was a good thing now that they were free and allowed to do whatever they wanted. There was this movement, love movement, whether it was real or was it just another way of sense gratification. But they were saying it wasn't, all this stuff, and was it good for them, like, and stuff like that. And now we're the generation after who, it's not like hippies, but it's like, no, do whatever you like, have sex as much as you want, it's fine, but it's like in between, like it's like we're a very mixed generation now, and I just feel like we're getting the effects of these previous extremes as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good observation. That idea of like, again, coming from a conservative, so let's say in the West, which was dominated by for a long time by conservative Christian values. And and so that culture would have been there, but you would have seen that religions have some of the worst track records when it comes to sexual, let's say, impurity. They generally preach sexual purity, and yet they generally have the worst track record. Well, and it's not really worse, because there's, for instance, let's talk like I don't want to say that word so we get flagged on the algorithms, right? But the little kid thing, right? And then it's like, as society, we could probably all agree that's one of the worst things to do. And yet you'll see that in religious communities that happens. And it's even worse in religious communities, because there is this such preaching of high more sexual morality, that when somebody in a spiritual community does this, right, it's like really heartbreaking for the community. It lets down the entire community. And that's why I also feel like it's better to be honest and upfront and say, look, and I'm struggling like everybody else is struggling, but here's the instructions and here's why it works. And so I think that the natural rebellion to a hard conservative mindset is a hard liberal mindset, right? Or the opposite, like where it's anything and everything goes. And that's what we have now with wokeism. Wokeism is a total I would say is a reflection or manifestation of that initial hippie, free love, sex, type of thing, right? And now you have wokeism, which kids are so confused that they don't even know what gender they are. You know what I mean? Like they're like, no, that's all part of the patriarch construct. That's all part of the no, it's not a mental construct. Look at my body. I got a dick.
Yeah.
I'm a man,
and
you know?
Yeah, and it's okay, you want an alternative like a lot of the hippies do, but did you find one, or is it just going more and more into illusion and becoming more messy? And the problem with that is they're so far left that they become right, because it becomes, you have to agree with us, otherwise you're a fascist, which is fascism. So it's like,
which is
so
fascism
again
itself.
So the other extreme's going to come around again. Now you already see it on the internet. There's these far left wokers and then the far righters, and then they just, it creates more and more extremes. But there were, some people in that hippie movement were actually looking for an alternative, and seriously were looking for sustainable ways to live and to raise their consciousness and stuff like that. Not just, oh, we're sick of everyone of the world and these people running it, we're just going to be, moan about it and stuff, and then create our own ideas, which are basically insane.
Well, and because we have dharma, meaning nature, we always end up creating something else, right? Like you could say, I hate religion, and then what do people who hate religion end up creating? Another religion, because the idea that we'll worship will have to be there, that we'll have festivals and rituals will have to be there, because human beings will do these things. This is the dharma, the nature of a human being. So it's not a religious thing. For instance, worship, we're going to talk about that in these three techniques, but we all worship. It's just, what do you worship, right? Some people worship their own mind, right? Some people worship their fears. Actually, they're so afraid of something they can't let it go. They're absorbed by it, right? Whatever you're absorbed by is essentially what you're worshiping, right? So, and whatever you're worshiping is coming true for you. You can see that, right? Like in your own life experience. So, some people will say, like, when it comes to religion, worship is dumb. So you end up worshiping wokeism instead, or you end up worshiping some celebrity or politician or some, whatever you end up worshiping. So the idea, you will always glorify, you will always worship. The question is it working for you or not? That's it. Yeah. Does it work for you? Is it something that you want? So let's go. First of all, I'm going to answer this question quickly, and then let's share these three ideas, because we got some other appointments and stuff we got to get to today. Paradigms, Meditations, and Manifestations. Cool channel. Says, what do you guys think about getting a vasectomy? So this question came up last week. Well, I think I'm going to do a video about this, actually, because it's a question that's be coming up a bunch. So first of all, when it comes to sexual alchemy, because the next question is, can you still transmute with a vasectomy? Yes, I've trained many men with vasectomies, and they get the benefits, because a vasectomy does not stop the production of semen or sperm. Actually, it stops the sperm. My understanding is it cuts the tube, which stops the sperm from, when you ejaculate, from mixing with the semen to be going into the woman, or wherever you're putting it. Should be going into a woman. All right, if you're having a baby. So yes, you could still practice transmutation. Yes, you could still practice sexual alchemy with a vasectomy. I personally don't have a vasectomy. It's funny. I was talking to another guy this morning, and he sent me a message, like, because he's having sex, non-ejaculatory sex, and he was just wondering, he was asking about vasectomies, right? I said, I don't have a vasectomy. I've never had a problem. Myself and my wife have never had a scare or anything like that. So when you're well practiced, you're really controlled, and you can control that energy and intention and everything. But you need to do, what's responsible and safe for you and your situation. So overall, yes, you can practice sexual alchemy, still transmute, because again, guys with vasectomy still ejaculate. All those proteins, all those enzymes, all that stuff is being lost when you're ejaculating, even with a vasectomy. All right, let's get into these three techniques. So we talked about never let a woman control you. Again, practical application. You're at the gym, you're at the beach, you're at the mall, you're at work. For crying out loud, you're sitting in a meeting. You're supposed to be thinking about generating bank and advancing your career and getting your money and get your career right. Or you're in your meditation, you're praying, you're thinking of God, and then next thing you know, you're like, thinking of some woman blowing you or something like that, right? And we all know what happens. We're like, oh God, make me so pure. And then the next scene is like the most hardcore blowjob scene that you can think of, right?
Yeah.
So here's the deal. What do you do with that? It happens. The first thing is acknowledge it happens. Don't demonize it. Don't judge it. It's just a thing. It's like, okay, I've got this. It's a thing. So the first thing that you want to do is inside Sexual Alchemy, we have a practice called standing meditation, and we show you different techniques. And I also guide you through a practice of totally relaxing your body while standing in the most uncomfortable position. What it does is it teaches you how to be uncomfortable or be doing something that you don't necessarily want to do, but to overcome your body and mind. It's resistance training. If you want bigger muscles, you have to put your muscles under pressure. If you want to be more controlled in your sexual energy, you have to actually deal with it. You cannot just ignore it. That's one way. You go, guys who, for example, many men who live in temples, ashrams, churches, they disappear into the mountains. They become highly controlled or sexless until they see a woman, right? There's this great yogi who was meditating underwater for how many years, right? In the Bhagavatam. And then he sees two fish doing it, and he's like, I got to go get some. Out in the water, he's like, I got to go. That's how strong sexual energy is. So if you just try to be the yogi that ignores it, okay, that's fine. But we'll never see you again. We'll see you in the next life, maybe. If you want to be in the world, and the fact is you're going to be having social media, and you're growing your business, and you're going to go to the movies, and you're going out for dinner, and you're going to walk down the street, then learn to deal with it and learn to become more powerful. Use it as resistance training. So my mindset is the same mindset that I take in my workouts. I'm here to grow. When you have that mindset, then all of a sudden, when you get sexually aroused, then you can deal with it in a new way, and you can use it as power. So the first thing is relaxing your body. As soon as you relax your body, you'll notice your mind is freed up of those intense sexual thoughts, right? It's all of a sudden not like she's not just slurping down your fucking cock, right? Sorry for all my spiritual guys who are like, I can't believe he talks like this, right? So, but that's the truth. I know it because I'm just being honest. I know what you're imagining because I'm imagining it too, right? It's like, so the idea is that as soon as you release your body, you're like, whew, okay. All of a sudden, you'll notice, like, for example, I give the example, practical example is when I'm at the gym and some hot girl walks by. She's half undressed. She's not trying to, like maybe she's doing it for attention and blah, blah, blah. Maybe she enjoys it. I don't know. It doesn't matter what her side of the story is. It's all about you taking 100% responsibility for yourself. Fact is, hot woman walks by. Just like Jake was saying at the beginning, your eyes and your whole energy wants to just stare. First of all, don't stare. It's freaking creepy. She'll feel it too. And she'll be unattracted and repelled because one thing is she's going to feel the neediness off of you. She's going to feel like, oh, this guy's like way too needy. So don't stare, because even if you want to attract her, the last thing is to just totally lose yourself.
It's not even attractive anyway.
It's totally unattractive, and it shows that you can be controlled by her, which makes her unattracted to you because it shows that she's more powerful than you. And guess what? Women are hypergamous. They want someone more powerful than them. It's more attractive to have a more powerful man than it is to have a weaker man than you. And that's why so many women rule the hen or rule in the world, because they're more powerful than men in their energy. Yeah. They need you less than you need them.
Yeah, and then because you're so needy, you look more because you realize that she's not into you, and then you're like, more. Well, how can? Yeah. And it just gets worse and worse. So you just become more needy. She's less attractive, and the whole thing is just weird.
Being in that moment, you're being totally depleted of your energy. You're totally outside your body, your mind, your mind, your soul, your whole energy. That's when I say you. You're outside your body and you're into some fantasy and you're not present. And the last thing and the most attractive thing is to be present and confident. And that's exactly what you're not when you're staring at her. And that's why she's repelled by it. She's creeped out by it. Now she's definitely, even if you were to go talk to her or the opportunity came where you had that opportunity to open up a conversation, she ain't going to want to do it because you've already given off the I'm creepy vibes. So the first thing is Standing meditation will teach you to relax yourself right away. And you can do that in any situation, whether you're giving a speech and you're nervous. That's the beauty of these practices. Once you could do it with sex, you could do it anywhere else, right? It's like, oh, if I can handle my sexual energy, then I can handle criticism, and I can handle anything, right? You can throw the world at me. The whole world could come at me and I'm gonna still conquer it because I can conquer myself. That's the real blessings of these practices. So that's the first thing, is learn to relax your body very quickly. The second thing is to regain focus so that your mind doesn't run down. Your mind needs a task. If you don't give it a task, it's going to just go back to where it was. And believe me, the mind is enjoying the sexual fantasy. It's like a sexual stimulant for it, right? So it wants to do it. So you have to retrain it, right? So what you do is you run your microcosmic orbit. Now, if you're thinking, what the hell is the microcosmic orbit? This is the main energy from your, let's just say this from sake of time and ease, balls to brain, okay? The path between your balls and your brain, okay, needs to be connected energetically. So what you do is you put your mind will already be in your testicles. If you'll notice the tingling, if you can't feel the tingling in your body, you're not sensitive enough yet, and you need to practice. But basically, you'll notice that when that woman catches your attention, or that clickbait catches your attention, is that your lower centers or your sexual energy will stimulate. You'll feel it in your balls, and that's why your imagination is going towards a sexual expression. Once you relax your body, it releases the imagination, and now you take that tingling, that energy, and you draw it up the body into the brain. And you'll actually feel, when you practice this, you will feel that orgasmic, vibrant energy, that sexual energy now in your brain, and your brain will literally be tingling. And this is where you can download, your intuition just spikes right open. This is where guys in sexual alchemy have, they call like the DMT experiences, the shroom experiences, but without the psychedelics. Because your sexual energy is that vibrant where it'll penetrate into the subconscious mind and release you of old bullshit. It'll free you. When you draw that energy up and you feel that tingling, you'll also have power over it. You'll notice you're not even thinking of that woman anymore. And here's where you can install some new belief systems around it. So this is where the third technique of worship or praise comes in, or affirmations. So in the Hare Krishna community, I recommend if you're a Hare Krishna and you're watching this, I recommend you turn that into the Maha Mantra. You see the woman, relax the body, recontrol mind, reverse breathing and bringing up your energy, bring it up to the mind. You'll feel your third eye stimulate. You'll feel your brain stimulate, and then start to praise. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If you want spiritual purification, if that's what you're going for, that's your practice.
But really do it in those steps, like really feel it. Yeah. Don't just do I saw a woman, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare.
No. Train your body, because you're reconditioning your body to totally respond. Eventually, you'll see the woman and you'll just be like, cool. Yeah. It's a woman. You'll have a choice. Do I want to talk to her or not? Probably not. 99% of women you don't want to talk to because it's a waste of energy. Why it's a waste of energy is it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. Are you taking her home? You doing anything? No? Get back to your workout. Put your energy where it's actually going to bear fruit for you. So many men, if you think about it, you got 24 hours in the day. You got to eat, you got to sleep, you got to shit, you got to brush your teeth, you got to shower. There's so many things you got to do. The time it comes down to the time that you have to accomplish your goals is probably 6 hours if you're lucky. What are you doing with that? Not just the time, but the attention and the intensity that you bring to the table. She's stealing that. So as you get more rehearsed in it, you won't let that happen. You'll realize that it's just a bad investment.
Not to mention online, when you're just looking on Instagram or something and it's not even real life, and you're just, how many hours are you wasting just looking at stuff?
Totally. So let's say you're a Christian, you could turn that into Jesus, You could turn that into praise of Jesus, or you could turn that into the rosary, the Our Father who art in heaven, right? And you can do that. If you have any religious practice, you could chant the 9 qualities of Allah. You could take on a Buddhist mantra. Maybe you could take on, this is where you can also, let's say you're a man that's like, actually, I kind of want to talk to her, but I just don't want to come across needy. You know, I actually want an opportunity to attract her. Let's say that's what you want. I'm going to give you that too. Then you have to turn it into your own self. Okay, who do you need to be? When you draw your energy up into your brain, this is where you can use your intelligence to then direct. Who do you need to be? Oh, I need to be an attractive man. So an attractive man is not a needy man. So the first thing you could do is break that neediness and say, you know what? I'm powerful. You could say, no woman controls me. Never, no way am I going to allow a woman to control me or my energy right now. I'm going to stay in my masculine. I'm going to lead myself. I'm going to get back to my workout or back to my work or whatever it is that I'm doing that's important, that's going to advance my life, that's going to get me towards my goals. So you have to redirect your mind somewhere. It is not good enough simply to have a negation goal. What is a negation goal? I'm not going to allow sex to control me. Bullshit. Unless you have a positive goal, I'm going to use my sexual energy to manifest my goals. I'm going to use my sexual energy to have better meditations. I'm going to use my sexual energy in creative expression. I'm going to use that vibrancy, that motivation, that desire. I'm going to cultivate it and build it to white hot desire so I can go manifest this massive empire. Whatever it is that you're going for, if you don't have a positive direction to put that energy, you will use it in destructive ways.
It would just go back. You do that thing like at the gym where you're like, and then you just look again. Or like when I was at the beach on my sunbed, I was just like, well, I already looked. And then it's like, open one eye and be like, I'm just gonna put my head this way. I haven't got sunglasses. No one will know if I'm looking.
Yeah.
Your mind will just go back if you don't have a mission or something to discipline your mind with. It will just get a cheap distraction.
The reason that why most men get sucked down the porn hole is because they don't have something big enough that they're working towards, and they don't believe they can actually achieve it. They may have a desire, they may have a wish. One day I'd like to be, but because they don't have the energy and therefore the self-belief to say, I'm not just wishing, I'm creating. I don't have wishes. I have goals, and we create goals. All right. I'm not interested in wishes. I'm interested in what really works in this world to make a good life, an exciting life, an adventurous life. That's the type of life that I'm living and creating and expanding. You need to decide that for yourself, and you need to get on mission. And I'll tell you something. It's funny. I'm reading a book right now on it's called How to Unlock Her Legs. Right? How to be a man that unlocks a woman's legs. And you know what he's talking about right now? He's talking about being on mission. He ain't talking about women. It's so funny. He's not saying, okay, say this line and pick up artist bullshit and, do this and treat her. He ain't even talking about women. He's saying, what are you about? Who are you?
Renunciation is actually the most attractive thing. If you're renounced, and the way you get renounced is by going for something higher, then you renounce the other things. So everyone's attracted to someone who's going for a higher mission, has purpose.
That's right. That's the secret, man. You get on purpose, you get on task, and everything else just takes care of itself, lines up. Because you wouldn't, if let's say, like right now, let's say you made let's say you have a goal to make $1 million. If you're serious, if you have a wish to make $1 million, then you ain't serious. You're just gonna you're just gonna carry out your day however you're carrying out your day right now. And you're going to make whatever money you're making right now. But if you're serious, like, no, I'm going to make $1 million+ a year, you're going to start carrying out your day different. If you're serious, you're going to be like, yo, I better get up early. I better use my day. I better let no freaking thing distract me, because I know if I'm serious about making $1 million and freeing myself financially, I have a time limit and I got to get to it. So when we wish for things, we don't change anything. When we make it, when we commit to something, we change everything, including the way that we relate to our sexual energy. So let me recap this, and then we got to wrap up for today. Body relaxation. Boom. 2, running the microcosmic orbit to be able to connect the energy from your balls to your brain and travel that energy upwards. Not just a mental concoction. You will literally feel the tingling, the sensation, the orgasmic vibrancy running up your body. That's how you have multiple non-ejaculatory orgasms. That's how you experience, that's how you can overcome ejaculation, because it feels so good keeping that energy in you and using it in that way. And taking up the praise of conscious praising. How are you using your words now in your mind to then to evolve the way that you're thinking and what you're giving your attention to? Get started on your journey to learning these techniques right away by going and taking the free ejaculation control guide. If you're on YouTube or my Facebook, the link is in the description. You could go to nikuladas.com as well. Jake, you got any final words? Yeah,
I just want to add that you can do this subtly as well. Like once you learn more how to do it, it's not like you're walking at the train station and you suddenly go, hang on a minute. Like you see a beautiful woman and you're just like standing there like this. like you can subtly learn to relax your body and run the energy and stuff like that. So you can just do it anywhere at any time. And it actually, and then you can get on with your day, you know, and you're not just hung up thinking about that, whatever you just saw and it's disturbing you. There's quickly just another cool story or pastime about two monks who were walking and they saw a beautiful woman stranded on the bank of a river. And she needed help to get across, and one of them just picked her up and carried her over, and then they carried on walking, and the other monk was just like looking at him for like an hour and just like, and he's like, what's up, man? And he's like, I just can't believe, you know, we're monks, you touched that woman, you carried her across. I can't believe that you did that, you know, that we're not supposed to be doing that. Like his mind was disturbed. And then the other monk said, I let that girl go at the riverbank. You're still thinking about her an hour later. You haven't let her go yet. He said, you know, it's just a woman. Pick her up, put her there. I'm getting on with my day. You haven't let her go yet, you know.
Oh, so this is, man. Powerful story, dude. Powerful story. Yeah. That story, super powerful. Thank you so much for sharing. I don't have nothing else to say. That just sums it all up, man. That was great. Guys, if you're watching this and you haven't done the free ejaculation control guide, go sign up right away. If you want and are looking to take your training up to the next level, you're really looking to master your sexual energy. If your sexual energy has become a source of pain and not pleasure in your life, then reach out and connect with me. Let's book a call. Let's talk, because I can help you turn that from sex being something painful and a frustration in your life to something that's pleasurable and powerful in your life. So we'll see you guys next week. Soldiers.
Yeah, retain.
Soldiers retain. Real strong men are self-control. Their info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain. Real strong men are self-control. Their info is plain.